Hello, this is Alex, and today I would like to solve a quick problem related to percentages. The population of a city increases at the rate of 5% annually. Its present population is 185,220. Its population 3 years ago was. So this is a relatively simple problem, but there is a trap that you have to look out for. So let's start with the correct solution. So the way to correctly solve this problem is you have to first write out, okay, so what is the population now? And we know that it's 185,220. And then we're going to ask, okay, what was the population 1 year ago? What was the population 2 years ago? And the population 3 years ago. So let's assume the population 3 years ago was x, and x is the number that we're looking for. Then we know that since the population increases at the rate of 5% annually, 2 years ago the population was 1.05x, right? It's very important to understand the relationship between percentages and decimals. So in this case, right away you know that an increase of 5%, which would be 105%, actually equals 1.05. And this helps you very quickly calculate those problems. Similarly, 80% would equal 0.8. So this is like very important that you feel comfortable writing out the percentages in terms of just regular numbers. So then we can continue, and we know that since the population 2 years ago was 1.05x, then we know that 1 year ago again it grew by 5%, so you would write it was 1.05 times 1.05x. And then now we already know what it is in terms of a number, but let's write it out in terms of x. And we know this is 1.05 times what it was 1 year ago, which is 1.05 times 1.05 times x. So now we pretty much have an equation that we can solve and get the solution. So we can go ahead and solve this problem. So we know that 1.05 to the power of 3x equals 185,220. So we know that x equals 185,220 divided by 1.05 to the power of 3. And I guess we can use a calculator to solve that. And we end up with 160,000. Which is answer C. And now I want to talk very quickly about a trap that you have to avoid, because I know it might be tempting to say, okay, since now, this is, I'm going to write it actually in red. Do not do. It might feel very tempting to say, okay, since now the population is 185,220, the population 1 year ago was 0.95 times 185,220. This is not correct. And this makes sense because when you increase something by a certain percentage, like 5%, to go to the previous state, you cannot just subtract 5% and expect to get the same result. So in this case, when you first multiply the number by 1.05, thus increasing it by 5%, a subsequent multiplication by 0.95, which is taking this 5% away, will not get you a 1. So I hope you found this problem helpful, and feel free to send any problems that you'd like me to solve to MathHelpGRE@gmail.com. Thanks.